Sets are in here. I don't know. 4 or 5.
Plan on it. It's in my office.
You get that right? Yeah. But I'm not looking.
Okay. Okay, let me go get that.
It's really nice, PK.
This is next phase.
Said that he would come here and
The city kids do have a full city committee. And so we decided we wouldn't do that. And secondly,
they do hopefully
Frankie from getting water line and going renovate and not have to stand up there.
you get to stand in water.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, we're going to start.
Good morning. Even though we may have one or two added guests arriving, we promise to start on time and end on time, and that's important to all of you. And we're delighted to have you here at McKinley Home for Boys to celebrate the first shovel of the Whittier Education and Training Project, and it will be for the groundbreaking of the activity court, which lies outlined before you. The activity court is that little area down there with the 4 red push pins that you've been glancing at as part of our plot plan. It's the very start of a major development for McKinley Home. McKinley has been a builder of boys and families for 87 years, and occasionally we have to build facilities for those youngsters and their families to make use of. Because we're building the Education and Training Center up there, as you can see those little pink buildings, that's in this area right behind that grove of trees. An integral part of that is a basketball court, and we can't tear out a basketball court and leave the kids nowhere to play. They complain that the balls don't dribble correctly when they bounce off dirt clods. So we're going to build this activity court first, and that will be the opening for the building of the Education and Training Center, which we're hopeful that will get underway in those buildings at the end of this year, the beginning of 1988. I'd like to introduce to you and ask to make some remarks Mr. Carl Wood, the President of the Board of Directors of McKinley Home for Boys. Carl? We've made it a long walk for all the speakers.
As I came across this campus this morning, I couldn't help but think that Uriah Gregory must have had a lot of in his mind, because in Gardena, California, some 75 years ago, he decided that boys should not be wandering around the streets at night hungry with no place to sleep, and so he began to take them into his homes, and thus began the history of McKinley Home for Boys. Quite a few years later, we had to expand. And so what we did was we received a challenge from a person who shall remain nameless, simply because there's someone else who will speak to you who knows the man much better than myself. And he challenged the LA Kiwanis Club for monies against his properties, and we opened McKinley Home for Boys in the southern section of the San Fernando Valley. We had many happy years in that area. And then in government, in their infinite wisdom, decided to put the Ventura Freeway right smack through our property. And if you go out the San Bernardino Freeway, or the San Ventura Freeway, you will look to your right and you will find Bullocks. Well, now Bullocks is standing now in the middle of our swimming pool that we had out there. Then we came to San Dimas, that again many years ago. And we have been here for some little time. These are the original buildings that you're looking at. And the architect who designed those buildings is here to speak to you today about our project. Now let me say this. About 5 years ago, a long-range planning committee of our board started a project of thinking and working with the board. And they were to decide where we were going from here. You don't stand still in this business. You either go backwards or you go forward, and we have been going forward for years, and we plan to continue to do that. Their first project that they came up with as their number one goal was a training center. We know for a fact that the learning problems, the reading problems, the peer group problems of these boys can be enhanced and solved by proper training, with proper equipment, staffed with real professionals, and in my judgment, we have the finest staff in the United States. I believe that to be true. Now, after deciding that, they decided that they wanted to do one other thing, something important. And the reason that they wanted to do something important was to give back to this community that which we have received from the community. Friendship and warmth. We've been treated as good neighbors, and we appreciate it. And so the committee decided to look into the various things that we might do. And we came up with this. One of the great problems in today's economy and in today's areas is daycare. The reason it's a problem is because the female and the male are joining in doing their jobs. The wife is going to work and becoming a professional worker in many occasions, and they need good daycare, and they can't find it very often. And so we have decided that we are going to put in a daycare center. Why is this a gift to the community? It will be a training center for daycare workers. It will mean that if, let's say, some corporation once has wanted to put in a daycare center but never were able to find quality people. Well, with the same kind of quality people that we have here, and we'll have them in our daycare training center, we'll be able to help them train those people. How many times have you said, gee, there are a lot of places that good, loving couples or good, loving women who take in 6 to 8 youngsters a day in their home. Now, these people are loving people, but they are not trained, and they are not licensed. And what they really become is babysitters. And so we hope to be able to give back to this community something from a daycare training center. We will probably have about 40 youngsters of our own in our care, but the great project will be to move out into the community and help train in those areas that need it so badly. Thank you.
Gives you some sense of the scope of the project to realize how complex it is. It really has several parts. Carl has told you about what the San Dimas-based and related services that McKinley plans to offer to this local community. An integral part of the entire project is the Whittier Education and Training Center itself, which replaces the school, which is beyond our staff, beyond those bushes back there. We have 4 temporary classrooms. Temporary, and they've been there close to 20 years. These top 3 pictures represent to you the education and training part. The early childhood education and daycare is just beyond it that way. You should understand that what McKinley is doing here is done entirely with a donor dollar, the voluntary dollar, the gift. This is not supported by any of our tax-generated funds. This is McKinley must make the effort to go to the community and raise the funds. Because McKinley has a long history in the Los Angeles community, we turn to our oldest and dearest friends, the Whittier families, and explained the project to them, and they agreed that it was worthwhile. I'd like to call on Jim Green, who's both a member of our board and our foundation, but is our liaison and in close contact with the Whittier families, to comment about our tradition and history with the Whittier families. Jim?
Well, this won't take long because Carl stole about 90% of what I was going to say, because I'm here representing the Whittier family and 4 foundations which Maricos Whittier's children have established. Those 4 foundations are contributing $1.6 million to this enterprise, which we hope will be half of it. And I was going to give some history on Maricos Whittier, which Carl proceeded to do, and thank you very much, Carl. But in essence, the whole Whittier family is delighted to be in support of this project, as they believe, as McKinley believes, that if we can concentrate education in basics, particularly reading, and help a boy in the basic skills which everyone must have these days, and in addition to that, increase family involvement in the life of that boy, that we can bring that boy to, or help to bring him up to become a responsible, productive citizen in every respect of the word, in lieu of him being perhaps a problem person or a boy who has problems all of his life. We believe in that and we fully support it. Thank you.
From where I was standing, Jim's voice seemed to drop, so let me repeat in loud and clear terms. When the board undertook this project, we estimated its cost to be $3.2 million. $1.6 million has been given by the Whittier Family Foundations. And with that kind of a beginning for us, the board felt encouraged to announce the entire project. You've heard about the traditions of McKinley, the fact that we're looking for a new field of service in early childhood education or daycare, that the focus of this project is clustered around those 8 classrooms and the support areas and special training areas of the school itself. McKinley, because it's been around for going on 9 decades, has also very carefully husbanded its resources, and those resources are reposed in what we call the McKinley Foundation. I'd like to ask Mr. Victor Leota, the president of the McKinley Foundation, to come up and say a few words at this time. Vic?
as a president and representative of the McKinley Home Foundation, which, as Dean mentioned, owns the land and buildings here and all the endowed assets of the McKinley Home Foundation, whose sole function is the support of the McKinley Home for Boys. It is with great pleasure that the home and the foundation embarks upon this great program due to the great efforts of the Whittier family. We thank them and we support them and hope to go forward to successful completion of the project. Thank you.
It's coincidentally that we have a training session going on for some of our child care staff who are here, and they represent the 110 to 15 people who are members of the McKinley Home staff. This is a staff, as Carl mentioned, has no peer in the United States. We believe that we are presenting to the youngsters of the Southern California area a program with a quality and intensity that is absolutely essential, and these staff members represent all of their fellow staff in the various departments and activities that we have here at McKinley. We're delighted to have with us today representatives of our local city. Both, I'll introduce our city manager, Bob Hoff. Bob, would you stand for a moment? Thank you very much for being here, Bob. They too have a major activity going on just the other side of Cypress. We won't get into details about it, but there's a large sports park going on across the street at San Dimas High School, so that this will be a major focus of activity for the city of San Dimas. We've asked the mayor to come up and say a few words, and I'd like to introduce to you Mayor Donald Hafer, mayor of the city of San Dimas. Mr. Mayor?
I too have been a graduate of a boys' school because I went to the boys' school for boys for about 12 years. So I know what is talked about when they say a school for boys, and a basketball does not bounce on a bad court. And we finally got concrete courts up at Voorhees, and the ball bounced right, and we were then invited to go to Catalina. So I have seen the girl in the back and watched her, and she claps when guys sit down. And so I'm going to sit down, but to say that I welcome you is a misstatement, because you have been here as long as the Boys School for Boys has been here. And I have come out of that, and I've seen your executive director at many meetings, because I have stayed with boys because I helped raise lights at Bonita High School, and I helped raise lights, and I'm going to raise lights, even though it conflicts with McKinley on parking, over at the San Dimas High School, because they have asked me to please come into that project. So I think, and I reiterate what's been said before, you can't do it without boys, but you've got to give them the equipment to work. And I welcome you both to San Dimas on the new project, and I'm going to sit down and get some class from the gal in the back. Thank you.
I'd like to complete the introductions and introduce to you two of our key board members, Mr. Charles Paddock. Charles, would you stand? Who chairs our Development Committee, and Mr. Neil Barton, who chairs our Special Projects Committee, i.e. he is the board representative for all of the construction that we'll be doing. We have our architect, who, as Carl mentioned, is responsible for designing McKinley. Coincidentally, I'm not sure when the groundbreaking was, but I know it was 1960, but I know when the dedication of McKinley's completion was, and it was, as I recall, in June of 1961. It's been 26 years that this campus has been open. PK Reeves on it. PK? And three representatives from the contractor, Peggy Howell, Peggy, Public Relations, Joe Esparza, the project manager, and Bill Taylor, the vice president. Thank you, folks. We look forward to a very warm and productive working relationship in the next couple of months. We've gone through the speeches. Clap, everybody. And we're ready for the groundbreaking. We'd like to ask Carl and Jim and Vic and Mayor Hafer.
We could start the foundation, couldn't they?
Ernie, I'm going to get you before you get me. We've got the hard hats. Brian, you want to take these over to him? As the Master of Ceremonies is wont to do, as he goes down the list, he doesn't overlook, he just doesn't read all the names. And we have perhaps the best stage of the last, Ernie. Our board member, Ernie Lobecki, who has come on the board of McKinley just this year, for whom the group home is named the Lobecki Cottage, and Ernie was a mover and shaker for his entire campus. Thank you, Ernie.
Up so that we wouldn't get a hernia.
Between Bill the Plant and the Gophers, it should be all ready to go. Dig in, gentlemen. There you go. Pictures.
I think so.
You could at least started, dug around
Share the hats and share the shovels. John, we'd like you and Bob to come up with Carl. I should have been the three of you, and that would be okay.
I'm used to that.
Huh? That's a different argument. Today we're cooperating, tomorrow we'll discuss.
Ready to go?
Got them all?
Go ahead, toss some dirt up.
There you go. Okay. Don, if you and Bob come on.
That's hard.
All right.
I picked up that word.
Okay, folks.
All right.
Here we go. Another foundation.
Oh God, there's an
You
electric.
get the pictures? Everybody look up at Pat and smile.
This is Pat.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
You got workers' comp, Dean?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we do.
I hurt myself. Jumping out.
Well, that's foolish, Tom. Well, let's see, and the last set of picture we'd like to have is with PK and the Macco constructors and Carl. We got to for the we got to act like you're working. Pretty lady.
It's hard as it may be.